heck did that cat chew a hole in that floor? Because this cat's declawed. I can't imagine a cat being able to chew a hole through a wood floor big enough to escape the house. And so I'm kind of frustrated that there's a big hole in my floor, that the cat is missing. And so now I've got two problems, that I have to deal with after a long day's work. So first job one is trying to find the cat. So I start calling the cat. I start looking for the cat. And I call the cat, and I could hear him meowing up underneath the house. So he's definitely went through the hole, I thought, and he's up underneath the house. So I'm trying to get the cat out of here, and I'm like trying to get him to come to me. And so at one point I even stick my arm in the hole, and I'm reaching around in there trying to grab this cat. And I could hear him meowing, but I'm not feeling anything around there. And so I pull my arm back out. I look up down in there, and there's these two evil eyes staring up at me. And I don't know if it's a cat or not, but you could see something. I didn't feel anything, but when I pulled my arm out, there was something pretty evil looking staring up at me, and I could see the reflection off of its eyes from the light in the bathroom shining through the hole. And I thought, man, I was crazy for sticking my arm in there. It could have been anything. There's no telling. It could be a skunk. It could have been a possum. It could have been a raccoon. It could have been anything up underneath that house. And I'm lucky to even brought back my arm in one piece. And I thought, don't do that anymore. No, that's crazy. Don't. The cat might be under there, but God only knows what else is under there. So I go to the side of the house, and I pull the rock, and I see where the rocks had been kind of pulled out from where you crawl up underneath my crawl space to my house, and you go up under there, level the house, and work on the plumbing, and this thing has been pulled out, and it's a pretty heavy rock, and I can't imagine what would pull it out. This rock is pulled out, and I'm like, well, it's pulled out enough a cat could escape from there if he wanted to. And I'm just like, well, it's a miracle the cat didn't escape from where the rock is pulled out. But I called the cat. I could hear him meow. And then all of a sudden I seen him. It come to the opening, and I grabbed him and pulled him out from there. And I pushed the rocks and sealed the thing back up. And then I took the cat in the house, and I locked him in one of the other bathrooms. And I had to go out and get some 30-year tin that I just put on my roof the summer before. And I got some big metal screws, and I screwed this big heavy tin down over this hole just as a temporary patch to keep the cat from going down there again and keep anything from down underneath the house crawling into my house. And just, pretty frustrating. Now, it's not the kind of stuff you want to do after a long day's work, I really had hoped I'd kick back and relax for a little while instead of doing all this. And it just didn't happen like that. So I patched this hole, and I messed around a little bit, and it was getting time for bed. And so I remember going there, and I laid down in my bed, and I no sooner hit this bed, and like I said, my house, I leave enough lights on to move around, to go to the kitchen, get a drink, to go to the bathroom without falling over stuff. So my house is not completely dark. It's fairly well lit, probably lit more than most people would like it. Just soft lighting is the way I usually keep my house, so you can move around. Anyway, I lay down in this bed, and all of a sudden I hear dishes and stuff breaking in the kitchen. And I no sooner lay down, and I'm like, oh, man, this cat is really bugging me tonight, man. He's really making me mad. Now I got to get up and go see what the heck this cat has gotten into. So I'm fixing to get up out of this bed and go see what the cat has getting into in the kitchen. And when I noticed when I tried to get up, I couldn't. It was like my shoulders were like pinned to the bed. I mean, I felt perfectly normal. I thought, I can't get up. What's wrong? I was thinking, man, there's something medically wrong with me. I can't, for some reason, I can't. I'm paralyzed and can't move. I don't know what's going on, if it's medical or what. And I can kind of tilt my head, and I'm kind of looking out the doorway, and all of a sudden I see the cat. And he's looking very nervously back towards the kitchen, and then I hear dishes moving around again. I hear cabinet drawers opening. I hear a lot of noise in there, and I'm going, oh, man. And the cat is looking really nervous back towards the kitchen. So I know whatever's making the noise is something in the house other than me and the cat. And so the cat, he actually comes into the room and jumps in bed with me. And I can still hear noises in there. And then all of a sudden I like I said, still paralyzed in this bed. I can't move. All of a sudden, I'm looking towards the doorway. My head is facing out the doorway, and I see something run streak across the door in the living room. And this thing, whatever this thing is, moving like nothing I've ever seen before. This thing is lightning fast. It's so fast, it's just a blur went by. You couldn't even, your eyes couldn't even focus enough on it to even tell what it was. But it was small, short, and faster than anything I've ever seen in my whole life. And this thing ran by the doorway, and then it ran back the other way, and it ran by the doorway so fast both times I still couldn't see what it was. And then all of a sudden, a second one came in, and it ran across the doorway. And then the first one ran back across the doorway again. And then this time, one of them run across my vertical wall. It run up on my vertical wall, and then run the full length of my vertical wall, probably about 3.5 feet off the floor. And after seeing it, I thought, oh, man. Okay, I was really hoping at this point it was squirrels or raccoons or something, because I've had squirrels get into my house before. They fall through the drop-down ceiling, and I have to get a welding glove and a trout net and catch them. And I was really hoping it was something explainable, but when I seen that thing run across that vertical wall, I knew at that point that whatever this thing is not probably from around here, and it probably had a whole lot to do with what went on last night. And I'm like, the fact that I'm still paralyzed in this bed, that something's in my living room running across vertical walls, pretty much tells me that this is a visitation from somewhere else, and God only knows what they're going to do. And these things are running around, and they're opening cabinets, opening drawers. They act like they're looking at stuff. They knocked over a lamp at the computer, and it broke. And so things are getting broke. These things are running around. And there's two of them running around. They almost act like they were playing chase at one point. They stopped searching for stuff, and they started running around chasing each other. And then the third one came into the scene, and he run in there, and he stopped right in front of the door. And he was on off. When he stopped, I could see him crystal clear, plain as day, 10 feet away. And this thing run in on all fours, and when he stopped, my eyes could focus on him perfectly. And this thing reared up from being on all fours and stood on its back legs. And this thing had to be about 18 inches tall. It had a humanoid-looking face. It almost looked like it was wearing a body armor. It looked like a small human, except for the fact that it had this body armor-looking shell on it. And even the shell itself had thorn appendages sticking out of it. Like if you grabbed this thing, it'd hurt you, because it had big thorns sticking off of it. And I don't know if it was a body armor or an exoskeleton. It looked to me like an exoskeleton on this thing, and it had big eyes, but they were squinting like what little light in the room was actually too much for it. Like it was almost blinding. It was almost like it could see better in perfect darkness than it could in a well lit room. And this thing stopped. It looked at the other two as if to scold them, and I didn't hear it making any sound. And I thought, man, these things can do whatever they want to if they just stay out of this bedroom. But that didn't happen. All three of them ran up underneath that bed, and they were shaking that bed. They were lifting the whole bed. And at this time, I probably weighed 280 pounds. They were lifting me, the mattresses, the bed frame. The whole bed was going up there and slamming back to the floor. And I was just bouncing off this mattress when they were doing it. And I was sitting there going, oh, my God, these things are amazingly strong, man. And I'm just still trapped here. And the cat, he takes off that mattress, and he slides around the doorway, getting the heck out of there. And I was like, man, this cat just abandoned me and just left me here to die. But I didn't see anything chase him or anything, And the next thing I know, the bed stopped bouncing. I was grateful for that. But the next thing I heard was clawing. I heard them claw into the cover of the box springs underneath the bed. I could feel their claws clawing at on the box and the metal frame underneath this. Like a box frame is nothing but a wood box, and it's got like some wood on it, and it's got like a metal, like a fencing wire on the top of this thing. And later, I had got up underneath there. I could see where they clawed into it, and I could see where they had claw marks on the wood, but it wasn't like tiger claw marks that cut into it. It was like some kind of stout, like grizzly marks where it would claw at that thing, and you could see where they grabbed that wire and they pulled on it so hard they actually bent it. And so they couldn't get through. I don't know why they were trying to dig through the mattress for some reason from the back of me, and they couldn't get through that wiring or whatever. And I noticed the next thing, and I was up underneath thinking, man, these things are going to kill me, and I just, I was terrified. But if you've ever been terrified in this situation, you'll be terrified for a while, and then you can build a rage. It's like you're going to die. So your choice is to either fight for your life, or just or stay in fear and let them kill you. And I just got angrier, and I had this plan. I said, whatever it takes, I'm gonna break free. I got a golf bag in the corner. I'm gonna grab this club out of the golf bag, and I'm gonna go on an alien killing mission here, or they're gonna kill me, or I was thinking at this point it's either me or them. Somebody's gonna die here, and so I tried to break free from whatever was holding me. And this time it affected my heart, my breathing so hard, and it hurt so bad that I felt like it almost killed me. I felt like I could tell that it messed with the beating of my heart. It messed with my ability to breathe. And if I'd have fought it any harder, it could have made me go unconscious or die. And I realized I couldn't break free. I just give up. And I just thought, man, I'm completely at their mercy. There's nothing I can do here. They can kill me if they want. There's nothing I can do about it at this point. Nothing. And then I heard them. They went over there. I had a gun cabinet right next to the bed, but I can't get to it. I'm frozen in this bed. Well, I heard them over at the gun cabinet, and they're pulling on it, trying to get to it. And I'm thinking, I've got this thing locked. You suckers are out of luck here because you ain't going to get in there because I know I know I got it locked. My girlfriend's got kids that come over, so I make sure to keep this thing locked. I've got all sorts of guns in there, and I know it's locked. Next thing I know, everything went quiet. I didn't hear them digging around in the gun cabinet. I didn't hear them open the doors of the gun cabinet. Everything just went quiet, and I thought, wow, that's good. Quiet is good compared to what's been going on in here. Quiet is good. And then all of a sudden, my body just acted like a robot. My body leaped out of that bed, and I was madder than heck, and I cussed real loud, and I grabbed that golf club out of that bag, and I was so freaking angry, and I was determined to kill something. And this was something I had tried to do 5 minutes earlier. It seemed like 5 minutes earlier, and I gave up because I couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, it was like I tried to do this, and it was like when they released me, that was the first signal my brain processed, and it was like what I had tried to do got done without my permission. So my body was like a robot acting on its own, which freaked me out because for the time I was a baby until now, my body does everything I tell it to do. But this time it was doing something I had wanted it to do 5 minutes earlier. But I'm standing there, and I got the golf club in my hand. I'm madder than heck. And so I thought, well, it's time to go on the alien hunt and find these daggone things, man. So I looked around all the dark corners of my house, and I found the cat hiding, and but the tin that I had put over that floor and I had screwed down into the wood, those things had pulled the screws right out of the wood. They had bent that tin, and that tin is tough. It's hard to bend that tin, and they had bent that tin up that I had bolted over that floor. And they had went out the same way they come in, and then it occurred to me that they probably made the hole. And they probably I don't know if the cat escaped down there or they had grabbed the cat and dragged him down there. And these things had probably been in my house God knows when. So I thought, oh, man, here, this is a E.T. encounter right here firsthand, right here in the home. So I called my buddy Alan, and I told him the next day, I said, I'm going to need your help over here, Alan. And Alan come over to the house, and I said, I told him what all went down that night before. He said, we did probably piss him off shining that laser at him. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, but I can't sleep in this house if I don't go underneath there. I said, the thought of these things nesting up under my house, I said, I can't live here without going up under there checking it out. So Alan was my backup guy. He stood outside. I crawled up underneath the house with a pistol and a knife and a flashlight. And I searched every dark corner of the house to make sure there wasn't nothing nesting up under there. And I seen where the wood had been clawed out from underneath. And that hole in the floor, it wasn't clawed out from inside down. It was clawed out from underneath up. And there wasn't anything up underneath there